Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just getting my home defense ready. 12 gauge. Always great. I want to talk about a couple things today. First of all, I'm a veteran. I served in the Iraq War. Second of all, I don't need to show you no damn paperwork or dog tags or any of that. This thing about all the cops going apeshit, not all police are bad. Alright? Some of them are scum of the scum. Here's a fun factoid you may not know. As United States citizens, we are all considered to be police or constables. We're also presumed to be fire marshals. Now, if you don't know what a constable is, it's a cop. When the country was first founded, constables, fire brigades, and armies were made up of civilians, like you and I. Okay? You didn't need a badge. You didn't need paperwork. You didn't need documentation. As a member of your state, city, and country, you're automatically Homeland Defense. You're automatically a police officer. You're automatically a fireman or woman. God forbid I offend some pansy-ass fucker out there. I don't know why we think that because someone has a badge, suddenly they have authority. I can arrest you legally and not even have to tell you it's a citizen's arrest. There is no such thing as a citizen's arrest. I carry a pair of handcuffs on me. I carry my Beretta, 4 mags, and I carry armor. Just in case, shit goes crazy. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights are concerned, everyone is a member of a militia. You don't need an application process. You don't need to be selective of who you choose because you live in the fucking state. No matter what your state is, you're in a militia just by default. And if you refuse to serve in said militia in a time of war or crisis, you're automatically considered a traitor. You're automatically hung and tried for treason. There's not much of a trial. You didn't take part, so guess what? You're guilty of treason. And there's only 2 punishments for that: hanging or firing squad. So, take it for what it is. It's a fact. If you do the research, you Google it, you start getting some fucking encyclopedias, you'll see this is the case. I've had to check a couple of people out in public because they're smoking heroin on the bus. They're smoking crack cocaine and methamphetamine on the bus. And they're rolling marijuana on the bus. Now, I don't give a shit about drugs. I don't care if you do them. I don't care if you buy them. Don't do them in public. Do it at home. Do it in a box under the bridge. Do it behind an electrical box where no one sees you. Whatever you do, don't do it on public. Just don't. Seriously. There are people who are very picky about this, alright, and they get very butthurt over the whole thing, and frankly, I don't blame them. I don't want to explain to someone's kid or my kid about anything they don't need to know about before they figure it out. Drugs, prostitutes, criminals, whatever, thugs. I don't need to explain that. I've checked a couple of people for their bandanas. Their cute little sashes they wear out of their back pockets because they're so hard. You're not hard, nigga. You a pussy-ass little bitch. Alright, and I can speak from personal experience. These people are nothing to be worried about. We've got people coming over from Panama, Ecuador, Nicaragua, South America, all those places. And people don't understand what MS-13 is. They don't understand what the Zetas are, and the Sinaloas, and all these people. They're not the same little pussy-ass faggots as your Bloods and your Crips and your Folk and your 8-Ball and all these. They're basically punks. Every fucking one of them are just little bitches, basically. I mean, I've gotten in fights with 5 or 6 of them at a time and dogged all of them. So, frankly, they're just bitch-ass little babies. They have to go and call 20 friends to go get your ass, strung up, yo. These guys that are coming over from the border, they are not just gang members. They are trained by military special forces. And this is Sinaloa's, the Zetas. Zeta actually means alpha, colonel, boss, is the term that they are using. They're all trained the same way SEALs and Rangers and Marine MARSOC, Force Recon, uh, like I was trained as airborne. They're trained in these special tactics, rappelling face down a 5-story building. They're trained to make one person seem like 20, to make 10 people seem like 100. Force multipliers. This is all stuff I know, and a lot of my friends know it. I can go out in the woods and make it seem like there's 20 of me, and there's only like 2 people. It's not hard shit. It's psychology, violence of action, shit. It's not rocket science. But these guys are paying people in the militia groups $5,000 a head, all right, to let them over across the border every time they cross. So basically, you have traitors in a patriot group. They're paying Border Patrol $5,000 to $10,000 a head. So these people with badges that you're supposed to trust and think are securing your borders, when they're stripping guns from Border Patrol left and right, they meaning the government, by the way, because I've spoken to these guys personally, and they are taking guns away from them, are being paid money to let these scum of the earth, I mean, they're literally not even worth the grease on my boots, all right, come across the border. And whether you believe it or not, or whether you know it or not, they're kidnapping your children. They're selling drugs to your parents. They're doing all types of nefarious things that I don't even want to speak about online. And no one gives a shit. They're scared. These guys don't run alone. I see them all around Arizona. I've seen these fuckers in Jacksonville, Florida, and in Brunswick, Georgia. They run in at least 2 to 4. Now, my personal opinion, when you see them alone, you should fucking end them. They're not American citizens, even though they're given an ID. They're not American citizens. They're not. They have no concern about the country. They have no concern about anyone they're in. They only care about their own personal gain. Their number one goal is self-gratification, and it's usually through money or sadism. If you look it up on YouTube, these guys have found people that have ratted them out and left their ranks. They cut their heads off with chainsaws. They fucking slit their throats and cut their entire head off with a box cutter, a dollar store box cutter. It's not exactly a high-grade implement. These people do not care about you. They don't care about the country, and they don't care about anyone's safety. Their only purpose is to die, and they're content to die as long as they achieve their goals. They're just like the Mujahideen, they're just like the Al-Qaeda, they're just like Saddam's people. And frankly, by the time I got to Iraq, these guys, most of them had surrendered. I mean, they were coming out with their hands up, begging for us to take them. They were terrified of Saddam Hussein. They were scared to death of him. Even after he was gone, they were scared of him. The same with these cartel pendejos. Chingo tu madres. You know, they're just fucking putos. They're fucking sluts. They're pieces of shit. And they're shipping them all the way to the East Coast as far as Pennsylvania, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Miami. They're all the way up as far as Delaware and Connecticut. I mean, they're in Washington State. They're in fucking Detroit, Michigan. They've got these fuckers everywhere. So if you think that something about your state is safer, or, you know, your state's a holdout state, you're living a fucking delusion. And you're a special kind of stupid. And frankly, you're part of the damn problem. The only acceptable behavior to interact with these people, and hey, you can consider this violence or hate speech or whatever, bound them, tie them up, and ship them back over the border, or drop them on site. I carry handcuffs and zip ties. Cops don't say shit to me. You know why? Because I don't act like a fucking fool. As a U.S. citizen, born and raised in America, My parents were born and raised in America. My grandparents were born and raised in America. I'm about as American as you get, minus the whole ginger thing, but that's because I have a lot of Irish in me. And Spanish and French. Not Mexican, not Puerto Rican, not Cuban. Spanish, as my brother says. My family is from Toulouse, France, which is damn near Spanish. I mean, seriously. It's so far down in France, a lot of the Spanish people from Spain come up there and become French. Alright? So, I should be sympathetic to them. No, dude, I'm not. Do it the right way or don't do it at all. I've seen Nigerians here. I don't give a fuck. Alright? I've spent time in Africa, and what I did there is nobody's damn business. Suffice to say, they ain't bulletproof. These people come here and they have some of the worst attitudes next to the Spanish people I've met. There's no excuse in this behavior. I don't give a fuck if you're Muslim. I don't give a fuck if you're Christian. I don't give a fuck if you're Wiccan, pagan, Buddhist, atheist. I'm pagan, by the way. Alright? I'm a very chill and calm person when I'm out in public. But anyone who's ever gotten into it with me knows I'm not the guy. And none of my friends are. My brother Robert, my brother Joe. No. That friendliness that we present is conditioned. Be polite to everyone you meet, but have 3 ways to kill them in mind at all times. Have everyone in the room dead in your head if anything goes down. These are things that are drilled in our heads, along with respect. Carrying yourself professionally. Not taking any shit from anybody. Alright? My brother Robert's a Marine, so Joe and I are both Army. Joe did comms. I was airborne and carried a fucking belt-fed machine gun for 6 years. The level of crap these people are gestating and breeding and teaching is unacceptable. Unacceptable. As humans, our job is to love each other as humans, not try and sell something to someone that'll kill them so we can make a profit. Our job as humans is not to throw people away and lock them up just because they got drunk. Should you be drunk in public? No. No, you shouldn't. You should do that at home or stay in the fucking bar and have a friend pick you up. You don't need to be walking down the street drunk as shit, high as a motherfucker, on cloud 527 because you don't know what the fuck's going on. Should you be arrested and thrown away? No. You should be taken out and, have the crap beat out of you and then tied to a post until you sober up so that way someone can explain what you did. I've been to more than a few hippie gatherings. And when someone gets unruly, they duct tape them to a tree. That's pretty decent, and frankly, you don't need to be misbehaving around other people. We're tribal animals, humans as a whole. That's why we have cliques. These jocks and preps and socias and fucking poor people who want to hang out together. Why so many black people like to hang out together and white people like to clump together and Spanish people. It's a clique tribal mentality. And anyone who tells you different doesn't understand anthropology for shit. It's very simple. You stay where you feel comfortable. You stay around those you feel you belong with. When people make it a point to make you feel uncomfortable because of some difference, a minor difference, the major difference is we're all humans, and we have that in common. We're literally brothers and sisters in the world. There's no excuse to judge someone because they're blonde, they're black, they're tall, they're short, they're fat, they're white, this, that, the third. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on with these stupid fucking labels and boxes everyone wants to put on each other. It's ignorance. And the powers that be love it. The fact that you're going to let a minor difference separate you when you could come together as a whole, which really is what the country's about. Now, I'm negating the fact that our forefathers said a lot of things. I don't feel like quoting it all because I have a bad headache today, and I still got to go out and make some money. So I'm trying to keep this short and sweet at 15 minutes and 4 seconds. Our forefathers said that everyone has the right to freedom, happiness, liberty. Unless you're black, female, or poor. They didn't put that in there, but that's really what it was about. We're far enough in our timeline, we should know better. Everyone has the right to pursuit of happiness. Everyone has the right to free religion and free speech. I say a lot of things that piss people off. Guess how much I give a shit? See how close my fingers are together? I don't give a fuck. It's my First Amendment right to say what I feel. It's my right to practice whatever religion I like. Frankly, it's my right to stick you straight in the jaw and the kidney and fold you like a sack of potatoes if I feel threatened by your behavior. That's not assault. There's nothing assaultive about it. If you are threatening my safety or my family's safety or my friend's safety, I have every right in the world to fuck you up short of death. And that's our founding fathers' beliefs. You don't threaten what people hold dear. You don't threaten what people consider to be a safety zone. You don't threaten what makes people feel safe. I'm sure there are good Muslims in the world. I've never met them. I haven't. I'm sorry, I'm not being prejudiced, and frankly, that word doesn't exist. It's a made-up word for political gain, just like racism is a made-up word for political gain. I've never met a friendly Muslim. Even the ones who are polite to your face immediately turn around and talk shit to you behind your back. So that's not friendly. I don't do that. I'll tell you to your face. I fucking hate you. You're a piece of shit. I don't like you. Get the fuck away from me. I'm gonna tear your ass apart. I've said this to people I don't even know just because they have a shitty attitude. So, that's straight shooting. That's no bullshit. It is how the fuck it is, dude. If you can't deal with that, and you can't deal with that right there, what I have on the wall, I'll be glad to whip kick your shit fuck ass right the fuck out of here. Alright? I'm all about equality. I'm all about people getting along and loving each other and agreeing, meeting a common goal. That's our job as humans. We're a social creature by nature, genetically speaking. We're a tribal creature, genetically, physiologically speaking. People who isolate themselves for extreme extended periods of time end up becoming a different animal. They basically become a rabid monster. I'm content to take my family and disappear into the mountains. I don't need a goddamn thing from any store. I don't need any damn fucking running water or power. Frankly, I can survive just fine. I don't need anything. I don't need Xbox. I don't need flat screens. I don't need this damn laptop. I don't give a shit about it. I've had laptops before, and I've literally thrown them on the side of the road and left them there. Just because I was done with them. There's no need to give a fuck about material shit. I've been involved in multiple different militias because apparently they want to have a group to hold themselves together. Every one of us in every state is a militia. It's psychologically warming for people. And I say warming because it helps them feel comfortable to know that they're in a group. So you give it a 3%er, or the Mullen Lob groups, or the militias, or the Oath Keepers. I took an oath. As an American citizen by birth, you've de facto taken an oath to have an allegiance to this country. And the flag. Right there. Alright? I have no need for the laws, and anyone who understands this country at its root has no need to follow any law pertaining to guns or anything else, or civil behavior. I don't need to ask anyone's permission for a gun, whether the barrel is 12 inches or 40 inches. I don't need to ask anyone's permission or pay anyone money if I want to pull the trigger and it fire once, or pull the trigger and it fire 600 rounds. There's no legal, and I'm talking about originally, constitutionally, I have no respect for anyone who follows those laws, frankly, because you're a traitor, in my mind. And in a lot of constitutionalists' minds, you are a traitor. Because you're basically giving money to a system that just wants to know who, what, where, when, and how. Look, ask me. I'm not telling you my name in these videos. As far as you're concerned, my name is Frank Castle. There you go. That's the name you're going to get, and that's the name I'm going to give everyone. Just saying. You have no legal necessity to present your identification to anyone. Border Patrol, police officer, Highway State Patrol, or government official. They have no legal right to stop you and search your car unless they have probable cause. Now that's legalese, basically saying, I suspect you're up to no good. I'm very polite. I'm very constructive and affluent with my words. When I talk to police officers, I'm very respectful. Now, as soon as you give me an attitude, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have a badge. I don't care if you're wearing a military uniform. When you give me an unnecessary attitude, I'm going to handle you because I've been respectful, polite, and compliant. There's no reason to take it all the way up here when we're not even on that chart. There's something called a use of force continuum, and I know this by heart. It was drilled into me in martial arts long before I ever went in the Army. The use of force continuum is basically a pyramid or scale based on colors. And it goes from making your presence known, basically showing up and assessing a situation, to using verbal commands, polite verbal commands. Can you please come with me? I'm asking you politely, will you, comply? Then you go up to more forceful verbal commands and physical controlling techniques. And no, I'm not reading this anywhere. It's just coming out of the old noodle. And physical control techniques are grabbing your arm or your hand and saying, I need you to come with me. After that comes pain compliance techniques, or PCT, which basically is grabbing your fingers, grabbing your ear, putting your hand under someone's nose, and forcing them through pain. And if they don't comply with pain, then you step it up a notch to joint locks, shoulder locks, neck locks, fish hooking if need be, which most people don't know what fish hooking is unless you've been in martial arts or in the military. That's fish hooking. Grabbing the nose and pulling it, that's fish hooking. It can rip your face off your skull, but generally the pain that's caused through that process is more than enough to make anyone compliant unless they're on a psychotic break. Which frankly, those people, there's only a couple ways to deal with them. And no, shooting them is not the way to deal with them. Tasers only work on 90% of the population. I am in that 10% they do not work on. Pepper spray works on 90% of the population. I'm in that 10% that it's not completely effective. Part of this is I'm pepper spray certified. Part of this is I've been hit by tasers. I already know. And the type of martial arts our teacher taught us teaches us just to control every muscle in our body. So my arm's been lit on fire before. Just long story. Suffice to say, stupid shit. And calmly, I walked to a garden hose. I didn't freak out. I didn't spaz. I got second and third degree burns, or second degree burns on almost my entire arm. Big ass blisters. I didn't freak out. I didn't run screaming and kicking. I didn't drop on the ground and try to put it out, because that's not always a good idea. When you control your mind and your body and your soul, nothing can stop you. No person can stop you. They can pepper spray you, they can tase you, they can beat you with batons, and you're still going to keep on kicking. Certain muscle memory instincts come to play by default. I've had people put loaded shotguns to the side of my head. And, well, they're not here to tell you the story, but suffice to say, when you deal with someone who's taught, conditioned, and trained in a certain manner, you don't want to ever be within arm's reach. I've dealt with multiple hostile attackers on the street in Georgia before. Keep them in a line. It's the same way you deal with unruly cops who are trying to be overly aggressive. Keep them lined up, and you can drop them one at a time, literally like dominoes. That mentality of mob madness and rioting and looting and there's more of me than you, that doesn't work. When you deal with trained individuals, 1,000 people can be destroyed by 5 people. It's just a matter of channeling them, putting them where you want them, and dealing with them how you see fit. You can make tear gas at home. You can make tasers at home. You can make handcuffs at home out of paracord, and it's unbreakable. There's videos on YouTube how to make them. They've made them in Singapore and Hong Kong and Thailand, and they make them out of rope. And believe me, they're 100 times stronger than metal cups. Plus, if you start wiggling your hands around, it's going to just chew into the skin and bone. You're going to start bleeding because it's rope. Kobo Jutsu is a skill I suggest everyone learns. There's another one that's an offshoot of it, and it's how to restrain people using everyday objects. I've used it on police officers in Jacksonville who've decided that they want to tackle someone just for walking down the street. And you flee the scene. Not doing anything wrong, walking down the street at 11:30 at night, and someone just runs up and clotheslines you from behind. You end up getting your belt off and you've restrained them. Walk off calmly, patiently. It happens. This is America, and unfortunately we have third world police and military officers and civilians who think that they can just get away with doing whatever they want. Nope. Negative. That shit doesn't fly. As a citizen, I have a right to arrest you or anyone else if you're doing something that I feel is dangerous to the surrounding people. Period. End of story. I don't need to tell you what you're doing. I don't need to explain to you who I am. I don't need to show you credentials. And we live in a society where people think that this is the case. No. Negatory there, dumbass. Credentials are nothing more than a false front. I can buy a fucking pretend badge offline for $20 that says I'm an FBI agent. It doesn't make me a goddamn FBI agent. Seriously. Women and people are kidnapped and raped every day by people who buy little fucking light strips and put them in their cars. And people automatically stop because a lot of people still think that, oh, a police officer's here for my good. And a lot of cops are here for your own good. There are some that are just psychotic bullies. And you deal with them the same way you dealt with a bully in high school. You fold that fucker hard and quick and get the fuck out of there. I went to an alternative school in Georgia. Most people have no idea what an alternative school is because they're ignorant and just weren't educated. Basically, it's a school where retards and people with anger issues go. I have an IQ of 130. And I increase it every day, so I'm guessing it's at about 150 now. Yes, you can increase your IQ. Einstein did it, and multiple other people do with no drugs. You force yourself to learn. You can exponentially increase your IQ up to the 200s if you really train yourself. This school, my little brother Joel, we call him Jolie Poly because he's just weird. He went there. He was a pacifist when he went to our school. I watched kids beat the fuck out of him, and he wouldn't lift a finger. And I would run up, hit one of them with my backpack, and start curb stomping the shit out of them. Those of you who've seen American History X will understand what a curb stomp is. You get someone face down and stomp on the back of their skull. I've thrown kids into concrete pillars defending other kids, and I get suspended for 10 days. Because I'm defending someone who has to go to the hospital because he's being beat that badly. Excuse me. He's being beat that severely. Badly implies the form and function therein do not work. See, again, a lot of the words you people use, out of context. Incorrect grammar. Your vernacular is flawed. When it comes to math, I'm an idiot. I can add and subtract because of my dyslexia with math. I don't try to learn math beyond that point. I don't need to know algebra. There is no functional reason to know algebra unless you're going to be a physicist, a doctor, or a sniper. You have no need for algebra, okay? Common Core is bullshit. I'm going to give you an example of what Common Core is for those of you who don't know. 2 plus 2 equals. Now, if I can show you how 2 plus 2 equals 25, I'm right. So essentially, you're facilitating the means to be a moron. I found a few videos on YouTube that show how the educational system, both private and public, is nothing more than to teach communist thinkers. And these are from people who were on the school board. These are people who were certified teachers. These are people from the 70s and the 80s. Unfortunately, for those of you who have your kids in private school, it's already a communist thing. You have no say-so over what they learn at all. At least in the public school, as a parent, you can go and petition for grievances, which is another constitutional thing. They don't listen to your desires, wants, and needs in the PTA meetings. They put the desires, wants, and needs where the money is. They already do that in a private school. You have no say-so. They take your money and teach your kids what they want. So frankly, if your kids are private school, don't let them around me or my kid. Excuse me, my kid or myself. I guarantee you they're not going to get along. I was created by my mother and my grandfather to be a free thinker, formulate my own opinions and my own belief systems. There's no desire to think inside the box. Once you've opened your eyes, you never need them closed again. And you're not going to respect anyone who has them closed. You're not. There's no need for that behavior. That's a communist thing. It's not socialist. It's not capitalist. It's Marxist. I have no fear of any reprisals from any legal institution. I'm quick. I'm fast. I know how to survive, escape. I know these things. They're drilled into me. There's no way in hell you're going to catch someone who knows the law, who knows when they're right and they're wrong. I know right from wrong. And I'm not going to accept anyone telling me they're right when they're wrong. I'm not going to accept anyone doing wrong when I know right. If I'm in the area, I have no problem doing what needs to be done, whether it's talk to you, arrest you, or kill you. If you're that big of a threat to the rest of the people around you, I'm not going to sit here and videotape it with my phone because, God forbid, I get involved and get sued. Try and sue me. You got to know where someone's at to sue them. It's plain and simple. Plus, they have to have money to be litigated against any of you. I don't have money. I spend it on my family and the things we need. And by need, I don't mean cell phones. I don't mean internets. I don't mean cable. I don't mean the newest, coolest, awesomest, niftiest doodad that just came out, the latest hopper, chopper, slicer, dicer as seen on TV device. Sorry, I'm not a sheep. I'm about this close to being a Buddhist. I'm just not a very peaceful person. I have no desire for material possessions, and I have no desire to associate with people who hold material possessions in high. That's the main reason I've backed out of certain groups that I was involved in, because a lot of the people there are about material possession. They're about material gain, monetary gain, and to me, I can't respect that, dude. If you're more worried about what you have being cooler or more effective than someone else's, or the fact that you don't like their political beliefs, you're part of the problem. This is a country based on freedom. This is a country based on acceptance. This is a country based on behaving in a nature that's for the overall good, not your own personal good. And that's all I'm going to say. Take it for what it is. God bless you, and I hope it all turns out well for everybody.